We're going to begin today with Commissioner Tyson. She is an appointment. We're going to follow with Commissioner Ammons and then we pleasure to take that.
Good morning. Community Development Services Committee. I have coming up first, I have Dr. Hamilton.
Doc's not here. Nigel is here for me.
Nigel.
Good morning. Got 3 items for consideration. First item is Centel Engineering, Warrior Storm Shelter number 2, amendment extending the contract to October 23rd, 2020. No additional costs being included. The second item is a resolution authorizing the Commission President to sign and request release of funds for the Brighton Street Improvements Project. And the third item is the resolution authorizing the Commission President to sign the environmental review finding of significant impact for the Brighton Street Improvement Project.
Move 1, 2, 3.
Second.
It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Family Court.
Good morning. We have 4 items on the agenda. Excuse me. I apologize. We have 4 items on the agenda this morning. We recently had a family court retreat for both our courthouses.
State your name, please. I'm sorry.
I apologize. James Peters. Yes, ma'am. As I was saying before, we had a family court retreat for both Birmingham and Bessemer courthouses on October 22nd and 23rd. The 4 items you have before you are for the presenters that we had to present at the retreat for all of the county court employees.
Where'd y'all have the treat?
We had it at Ross Bridge.
Move 1, 2, 4. Second.
1 through 4, been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That is the end of my report.
I know you have an appointment.
They changed it.
They changed it to-
I gotta be 15 minutes.
Okay, so you're good.
So, no more.
You want to bring it up tonight?
What about doing
We're here
it?
Thursday.
I will be here first.
How about tomorrow?
I'll be here first.
You here tomorrow? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ammons.
All right, information technology and economic development. I'd like to pull item number 1. Item number 2 is attachment, which deals with our mainframes.
Yes, sir.
Trish, you want to add on to
Yeah,
that?
this is a maintenance support agreement for supporting our mainframe system. It's an annual maintenance contract.
Do I have a motion?
Move
for
that.
1? And a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, aye?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you. I have 2 community grants, one for the National Veterans Day Foundation, and I appreciate the support of Commission District 2. It should be District 3, not 1 that's listed on there. And then also one for Rocky Ridge Fire Department. I did a emergency airbag for them last year. They want one for their other station.
Move 1 and 2.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
All right.
Thank you. And then I have a project development agreement. This is a great opportunity for a great number of jobs over in the Bessemer area on Morgan Road. The agreement is with Carvana. It's called Project Auto. We have 2 gentlemen here with Carvana, Brian Sosmansky and Todd Ward, right here that can answer any questions. The agreement, the statutory abatements will be coming from the city of Bessemer. They'll be doing that at their council meeting. I always get council and commission. They'll be doing that tonight. It will be not only that, but sales and use tax and a 10-year abatement on ad valorem. And and they will just be abating one of our 2 cents, and one of those cents goes towards education. Our portion today will be for the jobs incentive. They are saying that they will have at least 300 jobs. However, in some of their other locations, they have at least 400 jobs. So there's room for expansion, and they'll have at least 50 jobs that make over $50,000 a year, so that we can apply our job incentive to that. This is they have 7 facilities throughout the U.S. However, this is a brand new prototype that they are doing, so there's not one like it in the U.S. And so it's a great opportunity that maybe will eclipse that 400 as they see more improvements. Would you guys like to say anything or speak to anything? Or?
What's the difference in the other facilities and this one as a prototype?
So, yeah. Yes, sir. Todd Moore with Carvana. The other facilities that we have were existing facilities. Some of them have 2 or 3 buildings that were existing, others 4 buildings that we had to retrofit in order to have our operations in there. This was when we were a young company. We were first growing. So over the first 5 years, we realized the inefficiencies with those buildings. We understood where our production could increase and how to be able to put that into a prototype building. It became more of a systematic process to increase that efficiency within a singular building. The product of a year and a half's worth of planning on that prototype has resulted in kind of what we have here today that we'd like to put in the city of Bessemer, which is a single facility that has 4 lanes in it that run simultaneously. And that would be the process that would go through. So this would be one of our very new prototypes that we'd be rolling out. So this would be one of the first markets.
And you run 4 lanes. What do? You refurbish? What do you do with these
So what
cars?
we do, sir, is whenever we purchase the cars wholesale, we bring them in and we have a 150-point inspection that we do. So we hire people with automotive backgrounds. A lot of them are ASE certified mechanics. And we bring them in. We do not do major engine repair. We do not do major transmission repair. If those cars need that type of service, they do not meet our quality control. Hence, we would wholesale those to someone else or dispose of the product however needed. If they do meet our criteria, then we hold the cars on site while they are online to be sold, and the cars could actually be sold to anybody in the United States. Truck drivers that are actually Carvana employees then would transport the cars to whatever markets they needed to go to off of the site. So it's purely for our inspection and refurbishing of cars. So we do minor things like we change the oil, we change the brakes, put new tires on, that sort of thing. But it's not major automotive repair, so to speak. The other thing is the general public is not allowed on the site. It's only Carvana employees, so it is a secure site. People are not coming in shopping for a car there. Everything is done online.
So they buy it sight unseen?
That is correct. What we have is a 5-day return policy with a few limitations for high mileage, or obviously if there's damage done to the car. But you can return the car at any point in time during that 5 days. Or if you like, you can decide you don't like the car, you can switch it for another model or swap it out for no penalty.
I also forgot to mention that it's a $46 million capital investment. They are purchasing 200 acres out there on Morgan Road. If you're familiar with the area, it's directly across from the Milo's Key area. And there were no other incentives. I know that Morgan Road is currently being expanded, and so that should fit well with the...
Is it expanded up there?
No, it's, Cal can give you some update on that.
Well, that was my next question.
State. What the primary thing we're doing is we're extending Lakeshore Parkway across to this site. And Cal, would you expand on that just a little bit?
Yes, sir. There was a study done to expand Lakeshore and then cut across towards the interstate. And due to the extensive amount of wetlands, that's not going to work. So right now, we're looking at expanding Lake Shore to Morgan, and then one day, funding becomes available, adding lanes to Morgan Road back towards 459.
What investment are we putting in to extend that? I know there was probably a state grant, but do we have a match? I mean, what's this going to cost us to?
We don't have a budget yet, or have that in the budget. We're in the planning phases right now, so that'll have to come back to y'all to do. I would expect, Commissioner, $5 or $6 million.
Is that going to be before or after these gentlemen? I mean, are they going to be able to open now or build now, or are we going to have to wait till we get the road done?
Oh no, they're not waiting on the road to be done. My understanding. They can operate without that.
I have a question.
One of
They already don't have roads.
that's, you're not going to be visible from Morgan Road, right? Aren't you going to be back? You're going to leave the trees up?
Yeah, well, yes, what we're doing is we're finalizing, obviously, the site plan based upon the site characteristics that we're just now finishing up survey and wetlands delineation and things of this nature. So as we put what I'll call the site constraints, and our civil engineer, our local civil engineer is working through to figure out the best way to do the site. These sites are not where we put up large signs that say Carvana. In fact, we prefer that nobody even knew who was there, quite honestly. That said, we'll have an entrance and things of that nature. Sort of answer the road question, sir. We are already planning on doing turn lanes in and out of the facility to help mitigate some of the traffic, get our employees and our trucks out of the throughways for the road there. And we're continuing to work with the City of Bessemer, Alabama DOT, and Jefferson County to make sure that what we do is proper and safe for both the residents and our employees.
Is the extension of Lake Shore going to be our cost, Cal, or is that state? I know there's some kind of funding that you can get, what's it called, H something development.
Yeah, that'd be something we definitely try for, Commissioner. We just haven't got to that point yet. Could be economic development funding, state funding. We're going to try for everything we can get.
So my question is, infrastructurally, there's no obligation from the county as it relates to this project. Am I correct?
Not from an incentive standpoint, and we haven't had those conversations.
So that hasn't been an ask. Okay. I am interested in local, if you all can answer that for me about what is your strategy, if you have one, about employing individuals that are residents of Jefferson County. You all have any plans for local recruitment?
Yes, ma'am, we do. In fact, I'm sure half the room will like this, the other half will not like it, but our head of recruiting for our inspection centers is actually an Alabama young lady, and she went to the University of Alabama. She's very proud of that, so she's looking to come home and start recruiting. That said, what we do, ma'am, with the number of employees that we have to have and with the training that they need to have available to them, we work with local vocational schools and technical schools about a year before we go into production or during our construction process to put programs in place to identify the right people. We then work with the right people to bring them on and train them up in the way that our process sort of works. So the overall question is, yes, we want local people. We do not want to try to bring them in from outside. We feel like it's best that we have people from the community. Of course, that's how we're going to work. That's where we're going to recruit. Diversity is a very big part of that, and trying to make sure that we as a company are very inclusive and represent the community as a whole. That said, it's a long process. It takes us a few years to ramp up to full capacity, and we like to work with the community to see how's the best way to do that within each of the communities that we're a part of.
So let me ask this question as it relates to, and thank you. So as it relates to about the schools that you all connect with. Have you all been provided a list of schools within the county that you can partner with in order to be able to enhance your recruitment?
No, ma'am, not at this point in time. That is the next step that we look to do after the meetings that we have this week to finalize a few extra things. In fact, I'll be meeting tomorrow with our engineering staff with the finalization of all the due diligence and everything of that nature. So once we have all this behind us, then we feel like it's the time to take the next step, start getting our human resources and recruiting team involved. Let Kaylee come back home and start the process to figure out what is the best way to approach finding our workforce.
So if you don't mind, and I'm sure some other commissioners would like to chime in on it too, I'd love to be able to give you some names and telephone numbers of presidents of colleges that are in the area that I know would love to embrace what you all are offering. My last question is more for finance. The incentives, and I've always, that's I was sharing with the chairman, that's always my bottom line concern is that with the abatements that we're talking about, how does that impact our bottom line moving forward?
Commissioner, I'd have to take a deeper look at it and visit with Commissioner Ammons and Orthel to see exactly, because I don't know exactly what the amount of revenue that would be brought in to see what the offset would be for the abatement, but we could take a much deeper look at that.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm always for economic development, but when you're talking about anything relative to tax abatements, we know that that's going to affect your general fund bottom line. I mean, it's a cookie cutter in government, so I'm sure it doesn't work any differently here than it did at the city. So that should have been something I think that we would grab a hold to before now, so that we know what we're able to do and to maintain, so that we're not just, voting on something and then, you come back later and say, hey, if we have 2 or 3 of these kind of deals, I mean, how does that affect us with some of the things that we are obligated to do?
Yeah, we can look
Well, I
at
think
that.
the city has the right
The
to
city
abate
has the
our
right to
1
abate
cent.
all of our taxes without asking.
Okay.
Oh, the 1
so-
cent.
On the 1 cent,
Right.
yes. I mean, they could,
Yeah.
yeah. So that on that, and ad valorem as well. And if you want the numbers, we can make sure that we get that from the city.
But I mean, but that's our only obligation as relation to
All
this.
we're doing that right now
project.
is the job incentive, which would not exceed $114,000, which is about 57 jobs. That's all we're doing right now. The city of Bessemer is handling all that. We've been working, and Othel's been in a majority of those meetings where we've all been on the same page with them and DDA to make sure that everybody's being taken care of.
Is this deal contingent upon us spending $5 or $6 million for a road?
No.
Okay.
No, and it's and the jobs incentive is also is it it's 5-year?
It's the jobs incentive. Actually, the way this one will work is that once the employees are hired, we will pay out the incentive, and they have to be employed for at least 1 year. There's only 57 jobs of the 300 that meet the threshold for jobs incentive.
Yeah, and I didn't quite get the. I'm sorry, Commissioner. I didn't quite get the math, but I will say this because that may tie in and maybe something that you have in mind too, Commissioner Tyson, because it's in your district.
It's in my district.
No, I'm about to let me finish, Mr. President. I'm fully aware the project that we're discussing is in your district. I'm about to say about Piggly Wiggly, okay? And so that's why I'm trying to get a hold to that too, because I know that there was some asks there, and I just wanted to see where we're at with these projects, especially being that it's in the same area, not exact area, but it's in the same area. So I was listening very keenly of what our obligation would be there, because if you're talking about this particular project, and it'll yield 300 jobs, am I correct? That's what we're looking at. And then you have Piggly Wiggly, who's the largest employer at this point for Bessemer, and I just wanted to see about, what are our thoughts about trying to keep it there too, even though that's that's not related to this project, but it is relative to this project because we're talking about potential road construction and what we would be obligated to do. So, at a later point.
You got a question?
Yes, I would like to suggest that he works with Nigel Robinson, that's actually over workforce development. He has built a relationship, and you're working with all of the two-year colleges that already really have majority of the programs that you do already set up. And we're ready to roll with that. So I think this is something that's already in place. And they won't have to go, trying to search. And they also have contacts with four-year colleges that's here in Jefferson County that will be able to fix everything up for you. So that'll cut down some of the time, and we can get some people to work it. And we have a campus right there in Besson that deals with this type of work. Because they got their Honda, is it Honda or Mercedes? Yeah, they both of them out there. So I think that'll be a good matchup. So that's Nigel, right?
As well as AIDT.
Partnering, and they're very familiar with your type of operation. And what they train is very fitting for what you do. I move the project.
Second.
Right there on,
Second.
Right there on Bessemer campus.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you very much. That concludes my report.
I'll go next, I guess, and then that'd be three. No, we'll let Mr. Scales go. He's first, and we'll go third.
We have several items, and I passed it out that went through the system but didn't make the agenda. But so we don't have anything to report for environmental services, but we do have a board appointment for the fire district, and it is the reappointment of Beatrice Jones for a term ending September 30th, 2024, and I'd like to put forth that and receive a motion at this time.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All right, we had several community grants that we have on today's agenda. I think I'm going to pass that. So we have one which I told you all about, the Farsdale Fire District, about several items that we were trying to do. The amount is $10,000, and so we have the agreement for that. Also for the Ballard House, that is in the amount of $5,000. And we also have one for $5,000, which is a capital project for the 16th Street Baptist Church, which we all know that is a historical site. And is that all of them? We got three? Four? Where's the fourth? Oh, and the Birmingham Public Library, that is for $5,000 as well. This is Springville Road Library. So if you have any questions about those items, it has moved through the system and have been checked off. Apparently it's not on the agenda. So if anyone has any questions, I'm open for questions or a motion.
They've all been through the process.
Yep.
And we have
That went through after the agenda
She
was
said where's the
published.
form?
I have.
two.
If I haven't checked.
You got it? All right. So library, 16th Street Baptist Church, the $10,000 for Farsdale Fire District, and that's it. We have those four. Any questions?
Farsdale gonna get them some mattresses.
They're gonna get everything we can possibly give them for $10,000.
Amazon owe you some money.
I'm
All
still
about.
open to receive it.
Y'all
I
didn't-
would've hopped on that.
y'all didn't shake on it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I know, it's always left to interpretation, I get it. We ready to move on now? Got a motion to move the items. Got a second? Still looking? Well, thank you. You're so kind, sir. Has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners.
And President, please make sure this stuff get on the agenda.
Yes, and we're gonna have to do a better job of making sure this goes, because we've been a little lax in that. But we're gonna have to tighten it up and make sure these conform to our rules of organization and our rules of procedure. So, tell us.
When we sent the agenda out on Thursday afternoon, that's when we have the printed agenda, which is sent out at that time.
All right, and we need to know, and we can be the pleasure of the commission what we will do. I think that this is, most everything we do is done through unanimous consent. Okay? And we get 100% for them. I think we will for these. But when we don't, it brings other problems into bear. So let's work, county manager's office, if we get this on time, if we don't get it on time in our commissioner's office, let's try to back it up a day or two to make sure they get it. So we know, say, it's their fault, and we'll do it, and I can trust them. And,
And you're gonna be fussing at a lot of commissioners too, because
well,
we all struggle with it, so
I understand.
we can only do what we can do.
okay, if you voted on it.
Yeah,
So we're done, okay. Administrative and Infrastructure Committee. Roads and Transportation. Hi there, you want,
Good morning.
I always say payment, I didn't want to do anything with those.
There for now. 1 through 6 are easements for several different projects that we have for sewer, and then all of the topics. 8 construction projects. The next 3 are the appraisal contracts. So for our federal aid projects, when we exceed certain dollar amounts, we have to have secondary appraisals to the in-house ones, and those allow us to do that. And then the last one is our fuel contract.
All right, number 2, payment for track 19 at Topics 8, Site 3. Where's that at?
The Topics 8 is the Crosshaven and Green Valley project site.
Town Heights.
Go ahead and bring your information.
I know these federal, these 789,
I missed a few.
these 789 ALDOT federal aid projects.
Those are federal aid projects. Yes.
Where?
It's just various projects. So we have, when we do the appraisals and they go through review with ALDOT, when they're over a certain dollar threshold, they have to have a second independent appraisal. So that allows us to select someone that has capacity to do that.
Those are 50,000 a pop.
And that's basically a budget amount. So if we need it, we have it. If we don't use it, then we won't spend it.
But we don't know where these federal aid projects are.
Well, we have Caldwell Mill is coming up as the next project that we have a large number of acquisitions on. And then we have several others that are in the pipeline.
Can I get a list of those?
The projects?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I apologize, 11 is a request to condemn for a sanitary sewer project. And then we have several other acquisitions, and then also a multi-way stop ordinance on Macasham to add a stop sign there at the ramp.
Chair, I'll take a motion.
Did we do 10? McPherson will
We did.
Move items 1 through 15.
Have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have three items. County attorney has two workman's comp claims and minutes from our reconvened meeting of October 17th. Anyone want to move those?
Move items 1 and 2.
Items 1 and 2 have been moved. Have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any questions about the minutes?
Move the minutes.
Move the minutes. Commissioner Knight. Second, Commissioner Tyson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much, County Manager. No items from the sheriff? We're good? County Manager, location
Mr.
agreement.
President, Mr. President, before we go any further, I want to say again, as relates to the Sheriff's Department, they did a fantastic job during the Magic City Classic week of activities. I just wanted to say that again in this setting, that did a fantastic job, extremely visible, and one of the comments that I've been hearing more from the public is that they're seeing the Sheriff's Department a lot more than they've seen in the past, and so I want them to know that publicly I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a location agreement, Hemlock Circle Production, agreement to allow movie scenes.
Move it.
Have a motion. Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is the University Authority Amendment Master Agreement.
Mr.
I
Chairman.
would like to move this to the commission agenda, but I would like to check with the commissioners to see if we could have an executive session prior to voting on this.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to propose, that we do have an executive session either tomorrow or move it to one day next week, because we didn't know when you were going to be here, Commissioner Tyson. And because we need to, a big step, we do need to have executive session for some questions for our attorneys. So I would second your motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, that would be the thing that we would do, and that would give us all an opportunity to look at it now and to have questions for, to go to the attorneys, and if we have it tomorrow, we can add it as an agenda item on Thursday's agenda. Or,
Well, we moved it to the agenda.
yeah, we moved it to the agenda, but
We're
we
moving
need to
it.
have that executive session.
Correct. It's
Are you
between-
okay Thursday for an executive session?
Thursday's going to be tough for me.
Is that tough for you? How about tomorrow be okay?
Tomorrow will be better.
All right, are you okay tomorrow?
Anytime after 1.
You want to make it 1:30 tomorrow? That gives us our 24-hour notice. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
With probably an executive session for an hour. Are you okay with that?
Commissioner, our outside counsel has a court appearance in Silicaca tomorrow.
Is what tomorrow?
Has a court appearance in Silicaca tomorrow. He would be unable to make it.
Oh. All that?
It's, Commissioner, I have a meeting that's going to last from probably 10 o'clock in the morning for the rest of the day. And it's something that I really can't change, unfortunately.
I'm going to go ahead and speak for the commission. The commission is not set to move on this until we can get a date and time certain for everyone to get together and to answer these questions. So I'm guessing the ball's going to be in your court now. Whether you should, when you can show up to answer these questions, this commission will be prepared to vote on it.
And if we have to go next week, we'll go next week.
You know, we can do it next week, early next week. I think Commissioner's gonna be out of town, latter part of the week.
We can do it. I do next Wednesday. Good for me.
Are you next Wednesday? He's gonna be out here.
Do it on Thanksgiving or we can do it on.
Is Thursday earlier, is early Thursday out? Is early Thursday?
Early Thursday, buddy.
Early Thursday.
Like start the
Means it
commission
not-
meeting and then go into executive session.
Well, we could have it before commission meeting.
No. No. We're not doing that.
No, we need to keep this.
We need time to have it,
We need an hour and a half.
at least. And we've got a couple of things Thursday that some of us had planned to attend at 11:30. No, I'm not gonna be rushed on it. So
Let's go ahead and do it on Wednesday. If there are some questions that I can't.
Wednesday? No, I'm
Yes,
not
you-
gonna do it without our attorney here. We can talk to our attorney this whole process hardly so. Without the outside attorney that we're paying to be here to negotiate this, I'm not gonna go into a meeting and him not here.
Okay.
So, not gonna be no more carrying the messages. So we all need to be in a room, all get this finalized, and answer any question that any of us five will have for you guys, attorney, county manager, whomever. So let's pick a day when we can all sit and do that. And I hate that, I didn't know if you were gonna be here Thursday or not, but you are, but we've got some conflicts on Thursday, and I don't wanna have to rush this, because we don't know how long it's gonna take. Could be an hour, could be a couple of days.
So,
Monday?
No, it's holiday.
Veterans Day.
Tuesday.
commissioners, if you'll look at your good Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be I think I'm getting,
I think you got
I can
a
make
group
it
tonight.
change. I've got dentist appointments.
I've got good stuff
Too
around.
proud.
I can do Tuesday. 12.
See if I can.
Hey, assistant, are we good on, since you're not where you usually are? Are we good on the 12th?
Dish for 9 o'clock, Tuesday, 2 Crowns, and call, get her to call and see if I can reschedule.
Afternoon, commissioners? Tuesday afternoon?
Well, wait a minute, I may not have to. 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock on Tuesday?
About 1.
After you finish.
After I've had work done, yeah.
You be good,
I'll be good. Y'all won't have to listen to me.
All right, Tuesday. How about, can we do 1? Is that okay with everybody?
One's fine.
You good? You good, Mr. Henry, with that one? Tuesday at 1?
I thought he said 2.
Can we do 1:30?
All right, let's split the difference.
I
have a meeting with the youth detention, with some children. I'm trying to get,
They're gonna let you off probation?
I'm trying to get them back into the workforce development. I got them lined up.
So you wanna say
Parents
2?
coming in. Let's do it at 2, because this is
2's
important
fine.
to get these youth out of youth detention.
All right.
Tuesday is fine.
What
2
time?
o'clock. 2 o'clock, Tuesday.
2 o'clock Tuesday. So, would you incorporate that into a motion?
So, hold on, is this
Thought you already did.
be an executive session that we're gonna reconvene?
We're
the
gonna
meeting,
reconvene
commission meeting? Is that what we're doing?
after the executive session.
After the executive session.
We need to vote.
For actions. to be
Right, but
taken.
I'm saying, but we're noticing a commission meeting though, am I correct? Meeting or?
No, we're gonna recess and then reconvene.
A reconvene.
And we'll have an executive session with a anticipated vote afterward, the executive session. And we're estimating the executive session to be 1 to 2 hours, I would think.
So, and if you
That's
don't have a
exactly right.
vote, then what?
Second.
And you don't have a vote, then what?
Then we don't.
have more questions.
Well, don't have, well, then
We'll have a vote either
We'll
yes
deal
or
with
no.
that when we get to it.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. We gotta get all that out in your mouth. So here we go. I have no further business from District 3. Mr. Knight?
All right, finance.
Commissioners, good morning. The first one is our normal unusual demand report. 2, 3, and 4 are our normal purchasing and encumbrance reports. Number 5, we are adding another school to our PACA membership, the school system of Scottsboro. And then number 6 is the investment policy for our trust funds. As you all remember, this year in the budget, we budgeted $485,000 to begin our OPEB trust fund, our other post-employment benefit. This will be the investment policy that governs the investments of those assets.
All right, well, it says county manager to directly authorize the CFO to adopt the investment policy. I think the investment policy needs to be adopted by
the
us.
commission,
Yeah.
correct.
So, all right, so let's write that as the resolution for the chief financial officer to present an investment policy for OPEB funds to the commission at when? I mean, we got to see it before we can adopt it.
Yes, sir, Chris, I emailed it.
We got a draft. Is that the one?
Yes,
Is that the one we're doing?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Move it. Move 1 through 6. No, I'm the chair. I can't move it. Y'all move it.
Move the items.
I got a motion.
1 through 6.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Budget management. Any questions about the staff development?
I have one question.
Why don't you ask about Commissioner District 4? What's your question?
Okay. So,
What page are you looking at?
I'm looking at page 6.
Okay.
All right, so just Commissioner Ammons, just for understanding. So is where we got the aerospace, is that summit, is it just the
one in Orlando that we went to?
I get it, but I'm saying but was there a fee associated with that, or just the $99?
This per diem?
That was per diem.
That's
And
per
then,
diem.
the difference in the 99 and the 71 that both have my names. The 71 was the reimbursement for Uber, which should be in the backup. Copies of that.
So let me ask you something. And what funding source is it?
Came out of economic development.
It came out of economic development.
And then the flights we would have probably done on the credit card.
But I'm saying, so this didn't come out of your office budget. This came out of economic development
This
budget,
is an
right?
economic development trip.
I didn't ask that.
Okay.
I'm asking, did it come out of this economic development?
Yeah, that's
budget?
what it's coded for. Yeah.
Okay. And so, Mr. Finance Chairman, you got that?
I do.
Okay. So, and because I want to make sure that these economic development trips, that everyone have access to the same fund. And we can either talk about it, or we can put what we need to do in place about it. So that's why I wanted to be very clear on it.
And I think that discussion is set for our next commission meeting when everybody was going to be here, because we didn't think.
Commissioner Tyson's going to be gone on what you said.
No. You're going to be gone now on the 2nd?
I thought you were going to be going this Thursday.
That's what you
Originally,
had.
that's why we.
Yeah.
It's the 21st.
So then let me ask you something. Can we not add this, Mr. Chairman, to the agenda when we reconvene the meeting on next week?
Add what?
Add the economic development
Yeah.
issue addressing the.
Resolution.
Can I add something at this point? Since it was called into question last time when we weren't here, and it was said that nothing went through to be approved out of the Economic Development Fund, here are all of the financial reports where items that came out of economic development were approved by the commission. And this is for your consumption. If you have any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer questions. These trips follow the AO, the travel AO that's been put forth.
But the 1901 Constitution, Mr. Chairman, no administrative order by the Jefferson County Commission trumps the Alabama state law. The Alabama state law, according to the 1901 Constitution, says that no public funds shall be used or appropriated without the vote of this body. So that's what the Alabama state Constitution says, which no administrative order by Jefferson County can trump that, sir.
Then the AO is in violation of state law, and then I would ask for our attorney to look over that, and I'll put that in the form of an email.
Your administrative order should be in accordance with the Alabama state law. But all spending is to come before the commission for a vote.
And all of that I handed to you was voted on by the commission. That was the point of me handing that packet out, was to show that it has been voted on and was coded.
So you're saying
for
that
economic development.
the travel that has been taken,
Correct.
period.
Has been voted on by the commission.
Okay. All right.
And let me be clear that no administrative order says that expenditures are not approved by the commission. I want to make sure that I don't want that to get out in any way that's what the AO says. All spending is approved by the county commission.
This will be a good item to take up, probably even if we can add that to our agenda on Tuesday, not this administrative order. Do we have anyone planning to travel or do anything out of that in the next month?
Yes.
Tell me where you going.
Faith will be going to a brownfield conference that is also going to be attended by out of workforce development. That's one of the focuses that Faith is on is brownfields, working with City of Birmingham, DBA, and staff.
So, Mr. President, unless I am the vice chairman of that committee in name only, I don't have a clue about this stuff. That's the reason why I'm saying that it's not being transparent. I don't know. You're the vice chairman on a committee. You said you wanted one voice. You can't have one voice if you have a singular conversation that only one commissioner knows about, and the other commissioner who's supposed to be a part of that committee doesn't know. Now, that's...
I don't want to get into this here, but I've called you a number of times. And
No,
sent
you
emails.
haven't. No, you haven't.
Well-
You haven't told me about this conference. You've told me about no conference. And let me make it very clear.
Okay.
Let me make it very clear, and I'm gonna use what our county attorney says very eloquently. You will not impugn my character.
Hold
on.
Okay,
Every time.
this is my committee, so I want to move on with this. We can come back to.
I just
that.
wanted to be said for the record, there's not been one phone call that you've ever made to me that I didn't return your call.
Okay.
Okay? Not at all.
All right.
I'm not going to respond.
You don't have to, because I don't want you lying.
Okay.
Here,
All right. Now, anybody? I have a.
I move to travel.
Thank you.
But Mr. Chairman, I still was asking about that item being placed on Tuesday's agenda. Now, are we
I have a
agreeing
motion.
with
Do
that?
I have a second? And I'll get. I have a second. Now, what's your?
No, about this resolution, being that we know that Commissioner Tyson's not going to be here on the 21st. If this item can be added to Tuesday, reconvening of the meeting.
Okay. I'll take that up. I have a motion and a second on the budget, multiple staff development. Do I have a?
You have a second.
I have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now, your question is you want to bring up the economic development
Resolution.
resolution as,
Why we can't do it Tuesday?
I'm not saying we can. Okay, so you want to add that as a committee, is it on the agenda for Thursday? Or carry it over into the executive session, which may need some discussion in there, and vote on it Tuesday?
Whatever is the pleasure of the commission, either Thursday or Tuesday.
Anybody got any?
Tuesday will give us some more time
Okay.
to talk about it.
Okay, all right.
You know, Commissioner Knight,
Yes, sir.
just a comment. What I've read from the resolution and the AO, it seems
The draft
the draft
that I put out.
the draft
For everybody.
resolution in the AO.
Right.
It looks like the AO and county attorney, like the AO covers everything that we need to do.
No, it doesn't.
With the travel. Perhaps that AO is not being followed strictly enough.
Well, the AO accepts legal, county manager, and economic development, but there's no further detail on it. It just kind of, the AO on the 2015 AO, right?
So, I agree. The AO refers specifically economic development, legal, and finance. So if there's an issue,
It's like the
that it
AO.
doesn't need to be handled in a resolution, we need to look at the AO itself and change the AO.
Well, the AO looks like it exempts. I mean, the AO applies to everything
Right.
else except for legal, county manager, economic development.
Right.
So, in other
so
words, we
instead
need
of there being a
to
resolution,
further refine it.
Why don't we just look at the AO instead of doing a resolution?
And further refine it.
Yeah.
To define those
Okay.
areas, because it's a little gray, because it exempts them.
Yeah.
So that's what we were trying to do with
Let me talk
to
specifics.
plug that
And,
in.
and I think that is the way to go with it. And county attorney, if you want to have a pre-clearance to schools and things like that, I think that will be okay. But there are certain aspects of economic development that we just cannot tip our hand on. If we have a project, Dolphin, that's down in Orlando, Florida, that we're trying to get in here, and if we can't travel to Orlando, Florida, to talk with those people, everyone and his brother will know what we're doing and know that we're in the game. And that's something we can't do. I understand that some of this economic development training that we're having probably should be pre-approved.
Yeah.
And if we can make the AO do that, I think everyone will be happy.
Mr.
I
President,
agree.
Mr. President, let me articulate specifically what I'm asking for. I am asking that every expenditure related to economic development be brought before this commission for a vote at a noticed public meeting. I am articulating specifically what I am asking for. And if the project is confidential in nature, sometimes I think we need to be reminded. I was chair of economic development for the city. All it requires, and the county attorney can correct me if I am incorrect, all it requires is that there be a surname given regarding the project, even if it requires us to go into an executive session. But that does not preclude us from voting on this item in a publicly noticed meeting, meaning that you don't have to give the name of the actual project, neither do you have to disclose the terms of the agreement other than for it to be amongst us in an executive session. But as far as the vote on the items, no item should be expended without it coming before this body.
But
I don't care if it, hold on, Mr. Chairman, because I don't even have a clue what you're doing. And you know I don't. And so that's problematic for me. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and continue to be on a committee and you're just there in name only. That's fraudulent. And so therefore, that's all I'm asking, Mr. Attorney, is that administrative order addresses that no expenditure that is related to economic development be done without a vote of the commission at a publicly noticed meeting.
That's what
So-
your packet's for.
I believe that there's been some discussion about this, and so I think that it needs to be clear that there are no expenditures that can be had unless they are budgeted by the commission and they're authorized by the commission. To say that you have an issue, if it's of course the will of the commission, the body's decision, if you want to have monies that are expended from the Economic Development Fund pre-approved, then that certainly is the prerogative of the commission. The purpose of the travel AO is that there are monies that are budgeted for specific things to include travel. And when you say that your economic development situations are usually kind of fluid, so the reason that that's in place for legal as well as your economic development stuff is if you have something that says you're going to make something a code name, but if everyone in the economic development world would know that on Thursday that it is a deadline for folks to travel for a particular project, and whether you give it a code name or not, if your chair or your vice chair of economic development is going to fly out on that day, then those folks that are astute enough will know that you're going to make a proposal which could be detrimental. And there are certain situations where executive sessions are appropriate for certain things and certain things where they're not. If the concern is how your monies are spent, I think that you absolutely can do that through your resolution. But I think in terms of where it sounds like the conversation is trying to go, I think you would be better served looking at a different resolution or AO to deal with your expenditures of economic development monies, as opposed to trying to make any changes to your travel AO. That's just my advice and suggestion.
Which is, there's a draft out there that we're attempting to address just that.
Okay. So given the posture of the meetings at this time, if you have a resolution that the commission is seeking to move forward for a vote, it should come out of a committee today to then be put on the agenda and moved, because otherwise, and it depends on the will of the commission, if you don't bring it up in your committee today to advance it forward, then on Tuesday, Tuesday, that would be a new item if it doesn't go through committee and would require unanimous consent to bring it forward. So if you're going to advance that resolution, I would suggest that it be moved out of this committee today, or otherwise you would require unanimous consent.
Okay, there's a draft. I sent it out probably a week ago to everybody. And that's something that was just a draft, is a document to start with, and it's a resolution addressing this very specific item. I understand there's an AO about travel and it has some exceptions in the AO back in 2015. So what we were trying to do with the resolution is exactly what the county attorney just said, is address those specific instances, whereas the non-disclosure agreement comes into place and it doesn't blow the cover of the person that's going to travel, and that's what we're trying to do. But what we're doing with it, attempting to do with the resolution, is to eliminate all the rest of it when you're traveling for a conference, for that to come out of your commission's budget. And if that's not accessible, then open up the economic development funds for everybody to go do economic development. So, I mean, that's kind of, I don't think we want to open that can of worms. I think we want to try to limit to what the resolution will say to specifically protect you or whomever is going on a trip, that we don't blow our cover with the non-disclosure agreement. So that's what I put that resolution out there, that draft, the other day. That's what I was trying to address. So I'll move that resolution. I'll go get a copy of it in my office, and I'll move that.
But what
that
he's
to the
recommended
agenda.
was that it come out of the committee.
Well, that's.
And so what I would ask is that, I'd ask for us to have an economic development committee meeting and discuss that within the economic development committee meeting. So we're not just going off of that. We have a chance to maybe take that
But
resolution.
I'm trying
and
to figure
refine
out,
it.
Mr.
Because
Chairman.
I don't think we're in a
Mr.
hurry to
Chairman.
just do something.
I'm trying to figure out, what is the objection to us being transparent? Because, even when we talk about travel, and I paid for my staff, which, that was a bone of contention, it was written about, okay? And it was talking about our offices staying within our budget. What I didn't know is that while I'm sending my staff on an economic development trip, you had access, Mr. Commissioner, to the Economic Development Fund. No one told me that my staff could also utilize that as a part of being a part of this committee. And for that matter, all 5 of us on the Economic Development Committee. So why aren't all 5 of us and our staffs allowed to be able to utilize this fund? That's what this whole resolution is about. And
It's about.
let me
about
finish,
every-
Commissioner. Your issue is you talk about transparency, but when it comes down to being
Transparent, right there.
no, transparency
Yes,
would have been, you didn't have to be called out on it. It would have already been provided. And what I'm saying is, if we are putting an extra layer of transparency there, I'm trying to figure out what is your objection. You have spoken that about several commissioners when it came down to the budget, that we had these little meetings and nobody knew about it and all that kind of stuff. And this is an attempt to say, well, let's put everything out in the open. If it's a non-confidential item, like we voted on economic development project, a project today, as a matter of fact, then there was nothing confidential about it. We voted on it at a publicly noticed meeting. It will advance to the agenda. If it's not that case, then I'm saying all 5 of us and our staffs should have access to this economic development fund if it is an economic development project.
And all those economic development projects should go through the committee, right? All I'm asking for, this is how I'm being transparent. I'm showing where everything has come through the commission for approval.
Then you should have no
at a
objection
publicly-
to
I'm
us
sorry,
going ahead and putting it in writing.
Excuse me.
You should have no
At a
objection,
publicly
sir.
noticed meeting, okay? That's why I brought this
Okay.
here to you today.
And guess what?
Are you going to let me
The
finish, or
public
are you
doesn't
going to
have
continue to interrupt me?
this. The public doesn't have this.
I will make it available to the
Okay.
public.
Everybody
Yeah,
has
it's
It's
to
all on the
Okay.
agenda.
I don't need your staff. I'm talking to the commissioner. When I want my staff to talk to you, I will do that.
All right.
So all I'm saying is that we shouldn't have
Let me
any
finish that.
problem with changing an administrative order or a resolution that addresses the issue. It's just that simple.
So are we going to put this draft of, now you said you wanted to have a
An economic development
economic
meeting.
development meeting to lay all this out and
I
discuss
want to
all
lay
this
it all
out.
out because it's not just about, it's about everything, economic development. We've been trying to plan on doing this. We'll go ahead and per the organization and rules and procedures, asking the president and Mr. Patelis to call an economic development committee meeting so we can discuss it. We can discuss it thoroughly at that time.
You're the chair of that, you can call it.
But, Mr. President,
Oh, yeah, I
mean, Mr.
can,
Chair.
but that's the rules it has. So that's all I'm asking for. If you want transparent, we can talk about it transparently at the committee meeting.
What you got?
okay, so but what I'm confused by is every time this comes up for a discussion, is always more discussion needs to be had.
Well, we need
I
to
mean,
get it
giving you a date certain.
finalized.
No, well, what I'm saying is, when I brought this back up in May, you had an objection. You said you needed to take it back and you needed to review it and look at it. Okay, here we are in November. Okay, when we brought it up a couple of weeks ago, you claimed then that you
We
needed
brought
to.
it up
you,
last
you,
time
you needed,
when I
excuse
wasn't
me.
here.
No,
You did that when I wasn't
I
here.
not only but before then you were here, and I placed it on the dais, and you didn't like it. Okay, I withdrew it, but you didn't like it, and you were here then. And what I'm saying is, every time we bring this up, you always want to open it up for further discussion. I'm saying, why? What is the issue? If you say you want to be transparent, you make up 1/3 of this, 1/5 of this commission. And I'm saying, why can't we finalize this once and for all and have this as an administrative order or a resolution, whatever needs to be done, Mr. Chairman, so that everything is done transparently? I don't see what the issue is. And now we're going to, well, let's have an economic development committee meeting. I mean, how many stalls are we going to have about something that we require staff to do?
When I put that out there, the intent was to bring it up on the next commission agenda on the 2019th, I think. But now we're understanding that Commissioner Tyson will not be here on the 21st. Is that what you said?
I'll be on 20th and 21st.
Okay. So that kind of, because we thought you were not going to be here this week. That's the reason we didn't put it on for this week. So, all right, that's where we are with it. So, when would be?
I move that, Mr. Chairman, that we move it out of the committee
Put it on and
for
discuss
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yes.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Have a motion? Second? Further discussion? Where's the, somebody bailed on
Well,
us.
then I would refer to the Rules of Organization, Order, and Procedure. That would require this to have unanimous consent to go on this meeting.
Why would it?
Well,
Why would it
we
require
just,
unanimous consent?
we just had 14 things that came through that didn't
Look, all I'm
require
asking
that.
for, can I
Sure.
respond before there's
Sure.
a vote? I brought this today to be transparent, to show where I was accused of not bringing, and my staff was accused of not bringing stuff to the commission for approval, and so we brought it, and I won't have my reputation impugned either.
Okay.
And so we brought this forward. I've asked that we postpone anything until the Economic Development Committee can meet. There is a big picture on economic development that can be put forward, which will relate to how the Economic Development Fund is used. That's all I'm asking for. You want transparency? We can talk about it in the committee
Can we have a
meeting.
motion on
There
the
is
floor?
no reason to ramrod this through without any other conversation about it or discussion. Commissioner Knight has put forth a resolution. I agree with the majority of it. I think it still needs to be tweaked. And instead of doing it in a rash and harsh manner and ramrodding it through, then I would prefer a conversation about it at our committee meeting. That's it.
All right, let's set that. What is a good time to have that discussion at the committee meeting?
I'm saying
You going to be here
special.
the next Tuesday? Okay.
I've asked for the 18th.
18th of.
18th of this month.
Oh, to set it special?
To set a special committee meeting for that day.
Just finance. Not
No.
finance,
Just economic development, that's it.
Okay.
And then what?
Now you.
And then we can
that's a
craft something
committee?
to go with it, but I think there's some
Okay.
some backdrop to that needs to be.
And then we can put on the agenda for the 19th?
We can put it on the agenda
She'll be here.
On committee on the
on
19th?
Tuesday, on the 19th.
She won't be here on the 19th. That's what she just told me.
No,
I'll be
she'll
on the
be here.
19th, I won't be here on the 20th and the 21st.
Okay.
Okay, but you'd be there to discuss it on the 18th and the 19th.
Okay.
But she won't be here to vote on it.
Well, I think she could probably make everything known the way how
She won't
is.
be here to vote on it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second.
So she won't be here
Can
to
we,
vote on it.
can we table that? Would you table that? Can somebody-
Yeah, but she won't be here to vote on it.
I get that. But we'll have that discussion on Monday, and it'll go to the committee on Tuesday. And hopefully, we'll get a sense of where you are after that discussion that Commissioner Evans is requesting.
I'll tell you yes or no, I won't be doing all this other stuff.
Okay. Well, that would suffice. So would you table your motion for Tuesday? Because we've got something that we all need to be, all our focus should be on this one
When is it
thing.
gonna come to the agenda?
it'll come to the agenda on Tuesday,
On the 19th.
on the 19th, and be voted on the 21st, if we don't need to postpone the vote, because she's not here. I think we'll be all right. Do it that way. So if you'll table your motion, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna reluctantly do it.
Okay. But the
But she
draft
won't
is
be
already,
here.
the draft is already out there. Now, so far, I haven't got any, whole lot of input from any of y'all, as far
Well, I
as.
gave you my
I
input from
thought
the
you were,
beginning.
have no problem.
Okay, all right. All right.
But I'm saying, but let me be very clear. So you saying, and this is gonna come up on the agenda
This is
on
gonna come
Thursday?
on, no, it's gonna come up
I'm
on a
talking
special
about-
committee meeting on the 18th. It'll be on the agenda for the 19th, like I'd originally planned for it to do. We'll discuss it in committee if there's any need. Well, then we can always postpone the vote. But let's have that economic development meeting on Monday, the 18th, at what time?
9 is what I've requested.
All I'm
9
saying, Mr. Chairman, is moving forward. I don't want to find out in a meeting nothing else as it relates to economic development. And I haven't talked about your staff. I'm not interested in your staff. I'm interested in you and what you're doing. And so, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to find out anything else as relates to economic development about any conventions, any projects, and anything else. And I'm hearing about it in committee meeting.
Okay.
I don't expect nobody personality to be like mine, because I'm gonna be the best scales I can be. But I'm telling you, what you're not gonna do is treat me like I don't exist with this committee. And if your staff is going, my staff should be going, and any other staff should be committed to go. And just because you're the chairman, you don't make all of the decisions as it relates to economic development.
But I think I've addressed that in my draft resolution. I think I have. But that's why I put it out there for everybody. So, thank you for tabling your motion. We'll concentrate on Cooper Green on Tuesday. Moving on, I have a budget amendment, multiple EMA items.
Yes, Commissioners, no additional funds are required. This is just moving budget balances forward, as well as a piece of equipment that was sold, and then Mr. Corman can address that if you have any questions.
Move. Have a motion?
I just want to ask him a question.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, now, what's your discussion?
Yes, I wanted to ask him, tornado season, what season coming up now? We have so much going on now.
Well, there's two tornadoes.
Commissioner, every month is tornado season where we live.
Oh,
Yeah.
Severe weather, in fact, tomorrow is the statewide severe weather exercise, winter weather
Yeah.
exercise. We are participating in that. That's the next big thing that's heading our way. But as you know, we can have tornadoes anytime.
yes, and I'm gonna bring it up again. I want Brighton to have a storm shelter.
We're gonna talk about that.
Now,
I've
I
got
want the
that.
storm to hit before they get their shelter.
Well,
Our plans on it. I've asked John Henry whatever procedures. What do we need to do
we're
to start the
process.
process
Right.
of this? Now,
I've got that on the
Commissioner, you want to address
no, I'm talking about the shelter.
No, I've got it to talk
All I
about.
need is 3 votes off this table.
I've got it I've got that on the agenda. I just want to get through this agenda. Do I have a motion and a second on the EMA amendments? All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Developmental Services, Z, 2019-031. Mr. Williams.
Yes, this is a case in the Dora area, up almost at the Walker County line. Request to go from mobile home park zoning to A1 agriculture for compliance. This is a defunct mobile home park and has been for a number of years. The people who ran it have now passed away, and the children just want to have a home out there. So the only comments we had from the neighbors were very positive.
I move. Have a motion?
Second.
Second. Does this, like if it's an old mobile home park,
Yeah. It had individual septic tanks.
Has all that been remediated, or is that?
It's in the process of being remediated.
Okay, all right. Have a motion, second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. 2019-032. Mr. Williams.
This is a case requesting to go from I-3 Industrial to A1 Agriculture, like many of you had. This is on Virginia Drive. Because this is surrounded by city and larger homes, the Planning Commission is requesting that there be a covenant for no mobile homes, and the applicant is fine with that.
I'll move. Have a motion?
Yeah.
All in favor, please say aye. B 2019-017, La Cazzarella.
This is a request for a transfer of a beverage license. This is a barbecue restaurant out on Gadsden Highway, or just on Gadsden Highway, out between Truston and Argo. It meets all the qualifications of zoning. I would point out that it is within 500 feet of a church. However, alcohol sales were permitted at this particular site as previous use prior to the construction of that church on the property. So it's sort of grandfathered.
That's Catholic Church, eh?
Correct.
No problem.
Very good.
All right, I have a motion. That's where I go to church, man. We don't have no problem with that. It's old Woody's Barbecue, right?
That's correct.
All right.
Go get your margarita after communion.
Sure, buddy. All right, do I have a motion?
Move it.
Have a motion? All in favor, please say aye. 2019-018, Bent Horn Saloon.
Yeah, this is a former or a bar. It was in existence in perpetuity for a long time. It's called the Cottage Inn. It's close to the Blount County line. The old owner has gotten out of the business and sold the business to some new folks who want to come in and redo the bar on the site. It's appropriately zoned. It's not within 500 feet of a church. It is within 1,000 feet of a church. But again, the zoning on this site predates. I can't find when there was a change order of the county commission, who's telling me that this property has been zoned C3, which allows for bars since the inception of zoning in the county. So again, it's zoned appropriately. There was a minor infraction, included that in with the report on one of the bar owners, but that was 15 years old, paid a fine, and hasn't had any infraction since.
I don't know where this one at. I'll have to go check it out. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. 2019-019.
This is an existing convenience store. It currently has an existing license to sell for off-premise beer and wine. Again, and this is just a transfer request to a different applicant.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
2019-020.
This is out going towards the Warrior River. It's right off of Camp Oliver Road. Several months ago, the commission will remember we had a related subdivision and rezoning request to clean up the zoning around this particular property. The C3 zoning on the property goes back to 1961 or 63. And the commission recently rezoned to align with the new lot line itself. There is no record of the property owner. The property owner has experience in alcohol sales for off-premise beer and wine. She's been a clerk at a gas station for a long time, and this is sort of her retirement project. So.
What do you think of the meeting?
I was going to say, any opposition?
There's no public hearing on any of these because they're all corporate.
So what they charging? What you said?
This is the bar. This is
This
the bar.
out?
I'll move.
It was a sports bar, and the previous owners closed the business. And it's not a transfer request in the eyes of the ABC board, simply because the transition period has lapsed between when they can call it a transfer. So it's technically a new license. However, it's a former bar that's zoned appropriately.
I have a motion. Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. EMA got two grants.
I move 1 and 2.
Have a motion.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. General Services. Who's taking General Services?
Jeff had a gas leak he had to deal with. This is the final deduct for the elevator project, so this closes that project out.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Personnel Board, Enterprise Contract Renewal, FY 2020 for $75,000 consulting.
Move.
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Revenue, RSI.
The Commissioners, that's just to update of the maintenance agreement for software for the auditors and revenue. It just helps with working papers, things like that, as they go out and audit companies for taxes.
Move. Motion? Second. All in favor, please say aye. I have one community grant, Homedale Fire District for $5,000. So moved. Have a motion, second. All in favor, please say aye. And did Darrell Tabell leave? I thought I saw you in here. Talk about these tornado shelters. We have budgeted $1 million for tornado shelters. We were going to have a discussion as to where they go, but let's get with Darrell and start working some of these details out, because I know I've got 2 to 3 in my district. Jimmy, I don't know if you got any, but I did. We were talking about maybe doing these metal ones. And I saw one the other day that we did probably 3 years ago in one of the areas in the district. And I mean, they painted it white, and that thing is bled through that paint. It looks like.
Is that the one in Concord?
No, this one in Warrior.
Is it dome?
Warrior.
Or is it the one?
No, it's the metal dome. And I mean, now I know that they say you have to maintain these and paint them every 5 years and do that. But this is, I don't know how many years it's been out there, but I mean, it just looks smart. So we'll have to get with Darrell to hey, let's make sure on these, because otherwise, whoever gets the tornado shelters, we're going to have to enter into an agreement so that they take care of them. They're going to have to pay the power, they're going to have to make the maintenance on them, they're going to have to be responsible for opening and closing them wherever they go. Some entity's going to have to.
Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, supposedly. But some of them hey,
we hadn't paid no bills on none of them.
right.
I can guarantee
Not that I know of.
No. That you paid in here town.
Oh, you got that?
Well, I'm just saying, I know you ain't paid no
If you give me that opportunity, I'll tell you how to keep those funds. You do it where you get the funds. And if you've got a community that can't pay the.
Okay. You got them all today? How many you got?
Right, all of them. All the
I'll give
districts.
them
How
a
many you got?
$2,500 grant
A dozen?
to help
Yeah, like a
pay
dozen.
the utilities and keep that up. And that's a good, sufficient public purpose. It's for the citizens of that area. It comes from our community grant funding that we have. So I think that is the proper use of that. And I think
And that was the plan, I was gonna do the lift one day.
if we would do that, I think it would be fine. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Couple of items, and we'll get together with Darrell on the tornadoes and start figuring out where we're gonna, because we need to start moving on that. But he's doing some work and some preliminary stuff. We got the maps. EMA's really probably some good maps to do. Couple more things. Ms. Knight, you've got a program on Thursday, is it?
Yes, we have a meeting with the Alabama Department of Revenue.
Okay.
And I think the gist of the meeting is to say that there are several factors that have led to the increases across the county.
And so the Alabama Department of Revenue is going to have a representative, and we're going
And I
to be able to
think the
get a little bit.
will be the Revenue Commission.
Oh, really? Okay, thank you. All right, and we have some checks for the schools for the, their portion of the 1 cent sales tax that Mr. Henry has. So how do we want to proceed as far as how do we get those checks to the schools? But he says that he has the checks in a sealed envelope over there, and whoever gets the checks must sign for them.
Signing for the ones in my district. Let Brown do it, don't let me do it.
Huh? Okay, so we have the Jefferson County Board of Education. Who wants to deliver those? I'll go. Anybody want to go?
Yeah, we all should go. Why wouldn't we just give it to the Board of Education? Jefferson County Board of Education. And then all of us
Last year,
would be there.
last year we had, they all came here, right?
Well, last year
we distributed.
we, yeah.
The first year they came here.
First,
I
yeah,
thought that was last year.
First year we had the banquet up at the club.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we ended up at the club and presented the big check.
Yeah, that
So
was.
since we're doing this every year, I don't know how formalized you want to do. We have 3 new commissioners. Joe and I kind of know the people understanding and expect that money from. It was like money from heaven at first.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that for the foreseeable future, and it can be as formalized as this commission chooses for it to be, or as politicized as you deem it necessary.
Or we could just mail
It
them.
says
Or you can
politicize. I think just presenting it is always good. The taxpayers need to know where their money is going and how they contributed to those schools. I don't think it's politicized. I think that the public just needs to know.
There they are.
No, I'm not talking about media. I'm talking about you formalizing it at a Board of Education meeting. But you all do as you choose. I'm just all about transparency and everybody knowing, not just whether or not.
Who will do the city of Birmingham?
Well, Commissioner Tyson and I can do the city of Birmingham.
All right, there we go.
Schools in Birmingham.
All right.
That would lead.
So Birmingham, Tyson, and Scales. Okay.
Midfield, Fairfield, Scales, and then I'd like to be there when you all also do for the county as well. Whatever county presentation that you're doing, is I have a county
Lipscomb and
script.
Brighton.
Okay. Well, Lipscomb and Brighton, that'd be county.
County.
That's county.
Yeah.
That's Jefferson County.
They don't get the
All right, I'll do Trustful, Tarrant, Leaves.
Homewood.
Steve, you got Homewood.
Homewood, Mount Brook, West Haven. I'd like to go with it, Leeds, and Iron Dale's County, so.
All right. Fairfield.
Scales, Midfield, Scales.
Bessemer.
Bessemer.
Tyson.
I'm just listening. You know, everybody clear up.
I don't know what's in
You
your
know, y'all
car.
doing Jackson County, you're doing Bessemer.
That's
Who
11.
wants to do
I had it. and-
which? Either that, or you can go, or I can go. These folks are spending their money and everything is different. You know, they know what they're doing. Money's
We'll
probably
expedite the
out.
process.
Money's probably already spent. If I had to guess it, people in, I know the Bessemer Board of Education appreciates it. I know the Hoover does, and I know the Jefferson County. Those are really the 3. Besides the city of Birmingham, believe it or not, I have part of the city of Birmingham also.
And you're more than welcome to be there, Mr. President.
I understand.
All right. All right. Got
I'll
that.
make the rounds.
So Mr. Henry will deliver those checks to the appropriate parties, and that concludes my report.
Ladies and gentlemen.